Not even asking to staff there. Why would I do that? I can't use my name. I can use a pseudonym. Any name. Think you pick a name. I could be a woman.
You are a loser.
Hey there, quirky peeps. I'm hoping that your October is going really well, as we've been getting tons of great movies. So far, Netflix has been enjoying viewership from projects like Squid Game and The Guilty. No Time to Die has been playing in several parts of the world, and people are absolutely adoring this Bond finale. It feels like a very personal and emotional ending for Daniel Craig's Bond. Meanwhile, Venom: Let There Be Carnage has been the talk of the town. It has already had a record-breaking opening weekend in the US. And this time, even the critics are appreciating the sequel up to a certain extent. On top of that, it has managed to break a pandemic record at the US box office. It made over $90 million for the opening weekend, beating the likes of Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and F9. So, Venom: Let There Be Carnage was always destined for greatness. But what made the film so great was its big post-credit scene. I'm going to talk about spoilers now, so if you haven't seen Venom 2 yet, then go watch it. Or wait for it to arrive in your country. And for those who have, let's talk a little bit more about the post-credit scene. Congratulations to everyone, because Venom has entered into the MCU. We still have to gain a bit more clarity upon how Venom got teleported from Sony Pictures' universe of Marvel characters. We've got several theories about it. Maybe it was Doctor Strange, or Sylvie, or Deadpool who broke the universe and brought Venom to the MCU. But we're happy that he is in the MCU, as that has opened up several new options and crossovers. We've already covered a video about how Venom could bond with many other characters in the MCU. Be sure to check that out if you haven't. But he could still be in several other MCU movies. The first of them should obviously be Spider-Man: No Way Home. And since Morbius also has an MCU connection somehow, Eddie and Venom could show up in that film as well. But what's the plan after that? It is safe to assume that Venom will go back to his universe after No Way Home. And he'd probably take Spider-Man along with him for a battle or a team-up event. But with his entry in the MCU, everyone is left asking whether he could actually join the Avengers. Well, the answer to this question will depend on one major factor. The question we have to ask here is whether Sony is willing to share Venom with the MCU outside of Spider-Man films. The web slinger has been doing great in the MCU. Sony and Disney's deal allows Marvel to use Spider-Man in several crossover films.
Spider-Man, go shake hands.
Will do.
And they also get the control over Spidey's narrative.
Nice job, kid.
On top of that, Disney also has a 25% cut in Spider-Man: No Way Home's income.
All right?
Yes.
So if you think about it, Sony has to give a lot of control to Marvel despite owning Spider-Man.
Billions of miles from Earth with no backup.
I'm back up.
No, you're still away. The adults are talking.
Venom is their only big cash cow outside of Spider-Man movies. The first Venom movie made $856 million without an MCU connection. The second one opened with $90 million at the domestic box office. So if it goes on to make somewhere between $850 million and $1 billion worldwide, then I'm sure that Sony would not be sharing the rights of Venom with Marvel at all.
Oh, I'm sorry. What a bunch of a-holes.
But if there is a big drop in Venom's intake, then they might have to reconsider the future. The reason I'm saying this is because a major factor in Spider-Man's overall success has been his presence in the MCU. Because Spider-Man was in a universe with the likes of Iron Man and Captain America, the first film made $880 million. Because his arc in Spider-Man: Far From Home followed Infinity War and Endgame, it managed to make $1.131 billion worldwide. It became Sony's biggest film ever. And now, Spider-Man: No Way Home could go on to replace Far From Home from its throne. So why is that the case? Why is Holland's Spider-Man so successful? It's because people are happy to see Spider-Man crossing over with the MCU characters.
Hey man, what's up, Mr. Stark?
He is also supposed to appear in another undisclosed MCU project after Spider-Man: No Way Home. And then, Sony and Disney are going to renegotiate the deal for how Spider-Man's future will pan out. So, if Spidey is generating hype from the MCU, then Venom's ins and outs of the MCU could also do the same for Sony. In that case, Sony could make a deal with Disney that is partially similar to Spider-Man's deal. And if that happens, then Venom could definitely join the Avengers. As things are developing right now, the new Avengers, or Avengers 5 as you might want to call it, will involve Kang as its big villain. So the film will obviously be about the multiverse and time travel, And since Venom has already made his way into the MCU once, he could do the same in the future, even if he goes back to the SPUMC after No Way Home. And with all this, we also have to stop and ask whether the MCU actually needs to add Venom in the Avengers team. As far as his motivations are concerned, he could be an Avenger because he is largely on the side of good. But the MCU is already way too overstuffed. They've got Shang-Chi coming in, She-Hulk and Moon Knight are joining through Disney+. Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau are going to be potential Avengers candidates. Then there are other existing characters like Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Thor, and the list could go on and on. We don't even know what they are going to do with the Eternals, and we haven't even begun talking about the mutants and the Fantastic Four who will also be joining the party. So if the MCU is already stacked with so many names, then do they really have space or any need of Venom? I think that's probably not going to be the case. Yes, becoming more frequent in the MCU could work in favor of Sony, but they might not want to give away the control over Venom's narrative, or a cut in the profits of Venom films. And that's why, for the foreseeable future, Venom may not join the Avengers. He'd probably come back to the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters. He'd feature in Venom 3 and other SPUMC films. And then he will play a big role in the Sinister Six crossover event that Sony is developing right now. Only after exhausting their own options, Sony might think of taking Venom back into the MCU for more crossovers. The way I see it, if Venom goes back to the MCU, then the story should give him a big role to play in it. He cannot be in a 2-minute cameo. It should rather be about crossovers involving him. He is bonded with several other characters in the comics, and he could do the same in the MCU as well. As far as his run with the Avengers from the comics is concerned, he hasn't officially been an Avenger. Back in Donny Cates' run of Venom, Captain America did invite Eddie to join the Avengers in Venom issue number 22, but he declined the offer as he wished to spend more time with his son. Then, in Venom issue 25, Eddie warns the Avengers about Null's incoming threat. Again, he had the vote of confidence from the likes of Captain America, Captain Marvel, and Thor as he had really evolved over time. There was no official welcome party for Venom, but at this very moment, it did seem that Venom had joined the Earth's mightiest heroes. Apart from this, Venom was a part of the Dark Avengers team when he bonded with Mac Gargan. And as I've mentioned, he is bonded with individuals like Thor and Captain Marvel. So, after these comic experiences, should he join the Avengers in the MCU? I'd say that the Avengers don't need him, and he actually doesn't need the Avengers either. Sure, it would be a cool shot if Venom also appears in the next Endgame-like assembly moment, but he could be much bigger if he assembles his own Sinister Six instead. He'd have a huge impact and a lot more screen time since in a way, he is the Tony Stark of his own universe. Just like things began with Iron Man in the MCU, they began with Venom in SPUMC. So instead of being shoehorned in the Avengers lineup, he could lead his own team. And his role in Spider-Man No Way Home should be about moving towards Sony's Sinister Six movie instead of his crossover with the Avengers. But never say never, eh? Who knows what the future really holds? Maybe Disney or some other studio would buy Sony. Then the rights of Venom and Spider-Man would revert back to Marvel. That would totally turn the tables. But still, what do you think about all this? Will Venom join the Avengers? Or should he stay in his own universe for the large part of his live-action run? Let us know in the comments. Give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to check out some more fun content on our channel. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!